Welcome to A Lunch with Biggie, a podcast about small business and creatives sharing their stories and inspiring you. My guests today are here to talk about IMPOWER, a nonprofit that is focused on behavioral health, child well-being, providing psychiatric clinics, mental health counseling, substance abuse treatments, and telehealth services. Though their mission is very serious, they also have a fun race going on called Stuff Your Face Race on November 1st. Please welcome the Director of Development, Mary Cortez, and the race presenting sponsor, co-chair of the race, and all-around great guy, Howard Abel. What's going on, guys? How are you doing today?
Good.
Thank you so much for being on. I truly appreciate it. I always like to ask the question, what's your go-to sandwich? Or lunch? Mary, what you have want to share with me what your go-to lunch or sandwich is?
Today, it's a turkey and Swiss.
Okay.
With just mayonnaise, lettuce, and tomato, old school.
Okay. I like that. What about you, Howard?
I hate to copy Mary, but yeah, I'm a kind of a turkey and cheese on a bun of some kind, and mainly just mustard though. So
okay, I like that. Can I just, because I'm one of those people. Any particular mustard, like a spicy mustard or a regular mustard?
No, just a yellow mustard.
Yellow mustard. Okay. Great.
Yep.
I love that. So I know in my intro I kind of went pretty long, but I go, or at least a long, pretty intro in the sense of like a little bit of more than a mouthful of everything that you guys do. But Mary, can you tell folks a little bit about IMPOWER, how long it's been in Central Florida, and kind of give an idea? You don't have to give like kind of like a lunch break version of all the different services you guys provide.
Absolutely. So IMPOWER was established in 1994 here in Central Florida, but we actually service the entire state of Florida. In 2013, we pioneered in this area mental health telehealth services. And so we provide that statewide with counseling, substance misuse, ages 6 years old and up across the entire state. We also have two programs located in Seminole County. One is called The Village, which serves young adults ages 18 to 24, many transitioning out of foster care, and those that have been identified as homeless and needing safe and affordable housing. And that is located in Winter Park. And then we have The Grove, which is located in Winter Springs, and that is a short-term teenage substance misuse residential treatment program. And so that we work with Seminole County court systems and local families throughout the state, actually, that their teenagers need some extra support, care, some counseling to get through their addiction to substances. And then we also have prevention and supportive housing programs. So throughout Seminole, Osceola, Orange County, we have case managers literally on the streets working with homeless young adults, typically 18 to 24. Many identified by their schools and the Homeless Services Network here in Central Florida. And so we work with them to not only help them get to rehoused and safe rehousing, we also help get them connected to school, to colleges, to jobs, to life skills, and just kind of support them holistically so they can get onto their journey and, make their next steps to independence.
And I don't mean to put you on the spot, Mary, but I'm just kind of curious because I'm intrigued to know. Do you have an idea of a percentage of how many 18 to 24-year-olds, like how many I know there's like a huge number of I've heard the percentage of of just people in Central Florida possibly homelessness, but what is the percentage of 18 to 24 in that range? Do you have an idea of or a ballpark of what it could be?
I actually don't. We have a team that does. I know with the colleges, like I was just with Valencia College this weekend, and so they are seeing like triple the amount of students that are coming in requesting homeless tuition waivers.
Wow.
And I know within the school districts, we just did a thing with Orange County Public Schools in the summer, and that was a huge a summer workshop where we were able to present our services, but I know those numbers are in the hundreds. And so I would say, obviously, there's going to be thousands of homeless young adults in Orange County, but across Central Florida, I just know it's been increasing over and over again with the lack of affordable housing.
Yeah, that's the reason why I was curious, because I was intrigued to see what it would possibly be, just because I've heard the numbers are just outstanding of what's going on with all of that. Can Howard and Mary, can you guys tell me a little bit? Where did this idea, because obviously I love that was like one of the phrases that I loved seeing on your information, like, hey, we have a serious cause but we're doing something fun. Where did this idea of the Stuff Your Face race come from? How did that come about? Tell people a little bit about that race and like give them more details about like if they're interested in participating. But just tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, Marcy Darth, who and I'm not sure of her title, Mary at Empower.
Chief Operating Officer.
Right. Okay. So Marcy, I want to say it was 6 years ago or something like that. She came up with this idea she had heard, and we had a meeting. There were several of us from the running community that she invited in, and it sounded like kind of a crazy idea, and still think it's a crazy idea. So that's kind of where it came from. She had heard about an event like this and put it together. So she really pretty much put the event together, and it's funny that everybody that I'm a more of a serious runner, but everybody that runs it that comes out and that are serious runners also just keep coming back. They just think it's a lot of fun. So so it's been a
Great. What about, and I know just like things that I know that it's the fun thing about it is it's like, it's definitely a taste of, I would say a taste of endurance, but also gastrointestinal fortitude. It's a professionally timed event challenge. And from what I heard, like, what I like about it is that you've provided various options because you have everything from the team version of it. You have like a 5K, you have a 10K, you have the, hey, are you professionally, it's a professionally timed event. So like, if you just want to be serious and like a serious runner like Howard, you could just run. But if not, which is probably more my type, you can go it's like if you, whether you do 3.1 or the 6.2, I think it's like every 1.5 miles. If you do the eating challenge, you get to stop and you get to actually eat something. So you may do at a 5K, do 2 stops. That's great. I like that idea. You kind of stop, get to eat a little something. What are some of the foods or what are some of the things that they're expected to eat, Mary, when they go in the challenge, when they try to do the race this year, whether they're doing the 5K or the 10K?
Yeah, so it is totally a foodie event. So you can walk, you can skip, but you definitely got to eat. And so in the past, we've had everything from pizza to hot dogs to arepas and to desserts of pastries and things. This year, we haven't yet revealed
Oh,
who
okay.
our
I
food
like
tent
it.
sponsors are. I will tell you that our refuel zone sponsor is Starbucks. And so post race for free, you can they're doing their lemonade refreshers, there are different flavors of that and cake pops with live music and yard games and things while you wait for the awards to be announced. But we'll be doing a big announcement soon on social media and then throughout our communication list there of who the sponsors are this year. But we do try to switch it up every year. We also try to get various foods. So this year, I will give a little clue for you, but we have a a
Okay.
Cambodian food tent sponsor. So, and I had some of their food this weekend. And the chicken or fried chicken pot stickers,
Wow.
delicious
I love it.
texture, crunch. But yeah, and it's just like 3 bites. So we don't want to make our runners sick, but we
Yeah.
certainly want to make them get a taste of it. We certainly highlight the 10K relay. That's the best bet. It's 4 people, 1.5 mile run, and then you get to eat. But we have a big celebration throughout the entire event, and then of course through our refuel zone post race.
Yeah, and it's at Blue Jacket Park, correct? And it's going to be on Saturday, November 1st is when the race is. Have you guys noticed from the time you guys like? I mean, obviously the great thing about it is it's a fun thing. People love people love 5Ks and doing the run. Especially, I know you guys have a great relationship with the running community, like Howard mentioned. Is that something that you think like it also kind of is great because it also like, I don't know, events like this, is this your largest event, like your biggest fundraising event, as well as also like the way that you get the word out the best for the community of hearing about what you exactly provide to the community and what you're providing?
Absolutely. So this is our biggest fundraising event. As you know, we provide our services, no matter what, right? And so there is always going to be gaps in funding and there's always going to be areas where there's no funding, like, a lot of the transitional housing programs, just we don't have a lot of funding for that or no funding, but we work really hard to fundraise not only to support the current programs, but again, to bring awareness. Everyone knows someone who is dealing with some type of mental health or behavioral health or substance misuse, right? Like everyone knows someone in their family or in their friend circle that, hey, they could use a hand up, they could use a little someone to talk to. So we really want to highlight that, especially for underserved communities. Like I mentioned with the Cambodian restaurant that we're partnering with, we're just talking about Asian Americans. And so just how often, the journey here for themselves or their family, and then also the pride that comes with it. And so to be able to say, we are here for you, whether you need us short term or you need us long term, right? We have various programs and levels of support for people. But at the end of the day, this race is absolutely all about fun. We want to highlight who we are as Empower. We want to highlight who our community is and support them with our sponsorships. And so it is a big party, but it's certainly at the end of the day, it's that we are Empower. We're here for you. We're here to inspire life's potential. And we hope that, this is the biggest race that we have. We're really hoping for 500 runners this year.
Awesome. Howard, I know, and I mentioned this earlier before we started recording, but I know you and your wife are such great like supporters and advocates of Empower and other Central Florida organizations. Yeah, I know. I also saw that you guys, I mean, obviously it means something because you even have the able commitment to change award. I wanted to know, can you tell me a little bit about what is it, what resonates, or what is it that has drawn you to have to kind of be either co-share, sponsor so much, invest so much time and money towards something so important as Empower? But I'm just kind of curious, like, is there like what is your story and the connection to you with Empower?
Well, one thing I think that there's a very thin line between those that need help and those that are able to help. Sometimes we think that somehow it'll never happen to us. I have three siblings, but I have one brother who's probably been an alcoholic and a drug addiction, most of his life, adult life. Uh, just recently, he lives in Florida now, but he recently he was on the streets. I didn't think he was going to live. I mean, I get these frantic calls, and I called Anna Kasich with Empower, as a friend, and with some of her connections, they had a group that literally went and picked him up off the streets. And I would say it saved his life. I mean, there's just really no way around it. I mean, he was really out of it, and they got him in a rehab center. And basically today, this has only been about a year, not even a year ago. I think I talk to him every so often. I think he's off, he's off drugs, but we've been through this a lot of times. So, we're a family. We had two parents, and have got, like everybody else. So, why is one person coming out of the same family have this problem? I have my own opinion that it's a genetic thing of some kind, but it just can happen to anybody. It can happen in anybody's family and mental illness. And so, I just, I've been fortunate in my life, and I just feel that I have to give back to the community. And I know what Empower does. I've been there. I've been to the village where these kids that age out of foster care, and it's like they're I mean, I've met some of these kids, and it's like how I'm shocked that that these kids would actually be on the street. So it's just something that I mean, I just have to do it. It's my wife and I both are very, involved in it. And again, I think I do it mainly really because I just feel like there's such a thin line that, to say that, it's never going to happen to me. Well, it does.
No, I agree 100%. I actually was my wife and I were talking because my wife and daughter always like to ask me like, "Hey, who are you recording with? Who's on your podcast?" And I was telling them and I was, I always like to kind of knowledge share because I do my research and talk, and I was telling them, I was like, and that was one of the topics. It was like, man, because that's something that you're seeing a lot more younger people. They're in out in the streets when you're driving in certain corners and different things, trying to, and And it is. It's exactly what you're saying, Howard. It's like it could be one thing. It could just be like, hey, I lost my job, or I got sick, or something happened, and then bills just start accumulating, and next thing I know, I'm homeless. Or and then sometimes it's a lot of those is when, especially since a lot of these are dealing with anyone from 18 to 24-year-olds, or even the substance abuse of 13 to 17-year-olds. When you guys do stuff with the Grove, things like that, like all those things are like a lot of those is like those poor kids, they don't, it just kind of, that's what just kind of happens, and then it just steamrolls, and then it just gets worse, and if you're not getting the proper help or adjustments, I mean, it's really is impressive what your organization does and what you're doing. And I'm super excited to be able to just even give us a voice to be able to
Yeah.
kind of tell other people about this, tell people about the race, to be able to kind of have them be able to support or at least learn more about this, so that they're able to at least kind of get the word out. Because I just feel like anytime you can get someone to help or someone to understand, and then with that being said, like, what are some ways, if you're hearing this and you're like, wow, this is something that like I fit like kind of is close to my heart. I did not know about Empower. What are some things that people can do? Obviously, they can donate and participate in the race, but what are some other options and other things that they are able to provide and help, or maybe get more information and be able to kind of do for to learn and be able to be part of it?
Yeah, they can check out our website, empowerfl.org. We are always seeking volunteers and mentors for our village program. As Howard was alluding, these are young men and women that they're from all over the state, and sometimes they're coming from out of state. They're not always attached to foster care, but they've landed here in this area. And so they're trying to work. They're and they do work and they save up their money. So we are always looking for mentors for like financial literacy, for resumes, for job coaching, for just like career coaching. We had a young man this past spring who had earned his associate's degree from Seminole State College. He was working. He was on his way to UCF this fall. And he knew he wanted to go into public health administration. And so through Empower's board and through myself, we were able to connect him with Orlando Health and with True Health, so he can go shadow, intern, learn from the leaders of these organizations of what it takes, what's needed, what things he might be thinking about if this is the right career path for him. We also are always accepting donations as far as like clothing, especially for young adults. With our supportive housing program, some of our young adults there have children. So we always seek like diapers, sometimes, unopened formula, Christmas presents. We have a great campaign at the holiday time called Holiday Heroes that provide for all of our programs. We also have other volunteer opportunities. Sometimes we're painting, sometimes we're landscaping. So if you have a skill that you can transfer over to us, and then we also just are always open to sharing our story and who we are. We are very happy to come to civic groups or clubs, churches, faith-based organizations, women's groups, men's groups, to share who we are. And again, not just about us, but how we can help you, how we can help your organization, your family, your friends. With our services, we take Medicaid, we take most commercial insurances. Some areas have grants so that you can get care for free. So we're here just to support the community. So as much as they give to us, we want to give back to the community and serve them to that same capacity.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. It is really special what you're doing, and it's something that I think sometimes can, like you said, it's a thin line, but also sometimes it's something that you don't even fathom or think. You're like, oh, and then it's just kind of like, unless you're in it, it's one of those where sometimes it's very it's a hard thing to kind of deal with. I wanted to get an idea of, I always like to ask this question, and usually it's for like small, and obviously, how are you a successful business owner? So I'm kind of curious, but I always like to ask the question of what advice do you have for someone? And this kind of, and I make it open ended, just so you know. So there's no real specific on what it has to be on, but the general question that I always like to ask is, what advice would you give someone for wanting to start something?
It's like starting a business.
Anything you want.
Okay.
I basically make it open ended on purpose for that reason, because a lot of times people listening to this, they may not want to be starting a business. They may be wanting to just start something that they're interested in, or a hobby, or heck, even just something that they've been wanting to do, they just haven't done. And I always like to have different people's perspectives on if they can provide kind of like their advice on what they would, what advice would you give someone for starting something? And I make it open ended just because I think sometimes someone's message may hit some other person's point, on what they're looking
Yeah.
for.
Well, I think do what you love. I mean, if you really love something, then I read this book a long time. Do what you love, and the money will come. So I don't think you should look at a venture and go, well, how much dollars are I going to make? Or I always joke when I started Advantage in 2000. I'd go to sleep at night and I would, have my yacht, tied to my Mercedes or whatever. But, before the morning would come up, I was out on the street corner with my dog and a tin cups. It has this range, but I love what I do. And so it's been a fun career in doing that. So, yeah, I don't care what it is. If you love it, you enjoy it, it'll be fine. You just have to take the leap and get all your ducks in a row before you take the leap. But it's just that would be my number one thing. Yes.
What about you, Mary?
Say the same thing. Be bold. Sometimes the greatest ideas have never been heard of before, right? And that's what makes them successful. So do your research, know whatever market or area that you're looking into, laws or statutes, things that you need to know. But be surrounded by people who are encouragers. So people that, this is a pie in the sky dream, and go for it. So I agree. Be bold, be risky. And then if it's something that you're passionate about, like Howard said, that you are just thinking about it day and night, you're truly, truly in love with this and wanting to, whatever it is, a product, service, then it's not going to feel like work at all. And you're going to hustle and grind, and it's going to happen. But I think a big thing is about just being surrounded by the right people, because a lot of dreamers out there, you can get shut down by a naysayer and you might think, well, everyone's going to think I'm crazy. But the thing is that it's the crazy people that have made the world the way it is, right? It's the geniuses, it's the risk takers. So I say just, do your homework, make sure what you need to know, but also just be bold and don't be afraid to ask for help, and don't be afraid to ask in general. I mean, my job is I'm kind of a professional beggar. Not everyone loves beggars, right? But my job is to find support for Empower, and I love it because, again, like, you just never know until you ask. And like what you do, what's your story? How are you connected to us? Like, what can we do for you? So I say just be bold, go for it.
Speaking of the idea of asking for help part of it, I always love to ask, like, and sometimes obviously I'll ask like a restaurant person, or I'll ask things that I'll ask different people in their different fields, things that you don't expect or don't know or don't even fathom, because of the fact that I'm not in the nonprofit world. Can you and I'm not asking you to be like, these are my, like, I'm not, it's not the, like, we're not asking you for the boohoo moments. I'm looking for the like, we'll go with not the issues but the opportunities. But what are some of the things that people just don't grasp when it comes to being a nonprofit, and then having, and at the same time trying to get that message out to get people to understand where you're coming from, what you guys need, and what you're doing? Can you kind of paint a picture or give people a better idea of like what are some of the things that you guys have to handle or deal with on a day to day, that that maybe just to kind of give someone a better perspective of exactly how difficult it is and how important it is of what you guys do for our community and for people?
Yeah, I've been in nonprofit business for 2 decades now, and I think as you work with a lot of business people, right? And you're like, oh, they're business focused, meaning they're financially responsible, and these things. I think nonprofit is just business and service. And so we're out here, seeking to fill in the gap, seeking to help, whatever that may be. In our case, it's mental health, behavioral health, and homelessness. And so probably the biggest barrier would be red tape. So you'll sometimes read things or hear things about getting funding, right? Maybe the state's going to fund this mental health, but there's a lot of red tape that goes with it. Maybe it's only 120% of the most impoverished people that get help. And so what about the person that is hardworking, low income, single parent, but not meeting that qualification? And so we have to try to really, again, support our state, support wherever the funding is coming from, but also try to fill in the gaps there, because there is a lot of red tape, and we want to make sure we don't stereotype. We don't want to say, oh, only this population needs services, because everyone does. as Howard alluded to that, everyone knows someone who needs some help, and it's okay to get help. But I think that's probably one of our biggest barriers. And then also to maybe the assumption that because they heard that there's funding for mental health,
It's like,
that
I'll do
we're
anything.
yeah, that we're getting like these massive checks, or because we're doing the event that it's going to cover all of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
gaps. And again, it's just about us going out there and showing who we are and what we do. But that's probably the biggest challenge, is just kind of misconceptions. I love that in the last, decade particularly, mental health has not been as stigmatized as it has in the past. Like schools have embraced it, colleges have embraced it, business have embraced it. But again, it's limited, right? It's maybe to your employee assistance program, and you need more than 3 sessions, and you work during the day, and so you need nighttime, you need after hours, you need flexibility. So as us, we try to solve the problems. Okay, what's not working? Where can we do? How far can we stretch our own staff? Especially being with mental health and behavioral health, 100% of our staff put 110% in. We're all in. And so a lot of times it's important that we as an organization, our CEO, Anna Keswick, is really good about checking in with us. Like, hey, are you taking care of your mental health? How are you doing? What can I take from your plate? And so I think that, they might see these superheroes like out in the streets and in court and on the camera for your therapy session, but we're all human. And so we have to take care of each other with that. But I think, like I said, we're fortunate for the support that we have. We're fortunate for those that advocate for mental health, behavioral health, substance misuse. But we certainly have a lot of needs unmet, and we could do so much more with more support. Like I said, really reaching the broad band of it and providing those complete holistic services to our community.
The mental health aspect of Empower, is that for like the telehealth? Is that for like teenagers? That would be the teenager range, or does it go kind of almost the same thing as From the Grove to the Village, like anywhere from like 13 to 24? Is that like your window of your mental health, or what's the, is that correct?
No, we actually do ages 6 and up with our mental health telehealth services.
Okay.
And we can do things like comprehensive behavioral health assessments, which sometimes happen when kids enter the foster care system or into like kinship relationships. We go all the way up to those that are in retirement age. And
Okay.
so, yeah, in 2019, we received Florida Blues Sapphire Award for innovation in telehealth. That was right before the pandemic came on. But yeah, and now that the pandemic has come and passed, we know that people are much more comfortable than they were when we initially started telehealth with having teleappointments. But we service with those programs all the way up to youth to adult.
And I'm just curious on on that aspect of like, because I know it's obviously there's a substance and misuse, but could it be someone who just wants to go to therapy and doesn't have substance abuse? Like, okay, let's just say me, like let's say I'm looking for a new therapist. Could I go and say, hey, Empower, how can I enroll to do your telehealth? I can enroll and do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So we have a focus on depression, anxiety, but also too we do psychiatric care. So we actually have doctors on our staff that if you need medication management and you need monitoring of that, we can do that as well via telehealth. So we're kind of all of it around from
Wow.
yeah. I don't want to make anything seem less,
No,
less
no,
important. But yeah, so if you have a,
no.
a,
That is I
a
mean,
middle
that's,
schooler, we can work with them. And
and I will tell you that that is huge, because I know that there is a lack of enough, especially for children, enough psychological for therapists and stuff like. There is a lack of that available to be able to find, and if you do try to find, sometimes they're like, I'm not taking new patients. So opportunities like that that you guys provide, it's not, it's encompassing. It's not just, it's definitely hits a lot of different areas. Like you said, you basically kind of, you're definitely trying to help inspire individuals, families to reach their full potential. So I definitely I love that. I love what you guys are doing. Can we go over a few things I want to make sure that we hit on, because as people listen to this, a lot of times they're maybe scrolling on their phones and looking at things, or kind of like maybe researching about Empower and stuff like that. And I know you kind of name dropped the website, but I wanted you to kind of like, where can people find out more information from you? I'll obviously have show notes and provide all that, but just so that way when people are on the, like, as they're listening, where can people follow you on social, online, if they're encouraged and they're like, hey, I love the idea of getting to eat and run, I want to do, the Stuff Your Face race. Give them information, because I know you guys have a website on Empower, but also a regular website. Provide all that information so that people can check it out and give it a follow.
Yeah, you can follow Empower on Facebook with Empower FL, as in Florida. Also on Instagram and on LinkedIn, we are Empower FL. And then we have our website, empowerfl.org. I will say that we are getting a new website. So if you look at it and you're like, oh, this is a little dated, you're right. And so keep an eye out. The address will still be the same, but that's actually coming in kind donation. So again, using your gifts and talents, right? You wouldn't maybe always think a web designer, like, what are you going to do for a nonprofit? There you go. You can help. But so we're excited about that. And then the race, the same thing. We're on Facebook and Instagram with Stuff Your Face Race. And then our website is stuffyourfacerace.com. And all the up-to-date information is on there. And not only with the registration do you receive access to the race and the food, but you also get a t-shirt, you get a medal. We have a costume contest. So this is the day after Halloween. And so we expect a lot of costumes out there. And then we also have like top finisher awards as well. There's a free kids dash presented by AOK Networking. And every kid gets a ribbon. And then we have a couple of surprises up our sleeves for the kids as well. And then also too, if you want any more information, you can always reach out to us via email at info@empowerfl.org.
And when is the deadline if you want to participate and you're listening to this, what is the deadline that they have to be able to enroll or kind of sign up for it?
You can sign up into the race, but we don't recommend it. All right, Howard. So as far as like to get your shirts, guarantee your shirt size, we say September 15th, but and also have a run club. So the largest run club can also get awards. But yeah, so you can sign up. We also have a virtual race option. If you're going to be in town that day, but you want to support Empower, you actually will get your shirt and medal in the mail. You can submit your time. And then you can also post your pictures and hashtag on social media too. So there's a lot of options there. And if you're not a runner or a walker or available, but you want to support us, you can always donate on either our empowerfl.org or on our Stuff Your Face Race page as well. Both have opportunities there, and all of it goes to benefit our Empower programs and services.
I love that. I love that. I know you have like a discount code, but I want all the money to come to you guys. So no discount code. Keep the cash and give it to them when it comes to that. I really do appreciate you guys being on. I love the fact, and I'll be honest, how I found out, one of the runners, and just to give a side story, one of the runners actually, who is I believe part of your board as well,
Committee.
she actually messaged me because her and one of her friends wore one of my Deli Fresh Thread shirts. And so that's how I kind of got to understand a little bit more about the race. And I think it's a great opportunity. I think it's obviously, if I hear food and running, I mean, I like that because I'm into fitness and I love to eat. So, I mean, that just kind of makes sense. So I just thought it would be a great opportunity to be able to kind of shed light onto something that I think is very meaningful, something that's very fun to do. I mean, everyone does so many different 5Ks. Like, why not do a fun 5K that's going to support such a great cause? So I definitely thank you so much to Howard and to Mary for being on of Empower. And definitely, I strongly suggest, if you're into doing 5Ks and you're looking to get healthy, guess what? I gave you an excuse. You can eat all that candy you want. You got all that candy. That's great. Bring that candy with you for the kids' fun run. But come to the race November 1st for Stuff Your Face Race. And go out there and be able to kind of support a great cause. Thank you so much to Mary Cortez and to Howard Abel of Empower for being on. This is our podcast for the day. Thank you so much for everyone for listening. Definitely check out the website and check them out on social to make sure you're actually setting up and either do a donation or volunteer. Heck, even if you don't have money, it is priceless. The word of mouth. Tell people and spread the word about what they're doing and what it is and what they're providing the community, because I think it's so important for everyone from little ones to adults, to people that are dealing with substance abuse. The importance of it is just a huge thing. So please, definitely, if anything, whether you can or can't give money to them, at least spread the word and kind of help spread the word about what Empower does. If you want to support my brand, check out Deli Fresh Threads. But thank you. Keep eating sandwiches and follow your passion. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Biggie.
Thank you.